The number one pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
The 2025 NBA Draft Lottery was one for the history books. With a mere 1.8% chance of landing the first overall pick, the Dallas Mavericks somehow ended up with the top pick in the most shocking outcome imaginable. Fans across the globe immediately jumped online screaming that it had to be rigged. "This is a joke, right?" they cried. The timing was suspicious, especially considering the Mavericks had just made the most head-scratching trade in recent NBA history, shipping their generational talent, Luka Doncic, to the Los Angeles Lakers. The question on everyone's mind was clear. How did a team with such a low chance win the top pick? Is this a sign of manipulation, or is there something far more deliberate behind the scenes? But this is not a one-time fluke, and it's definitely not the first time the NBA has raised eyebrows with draft lottery outcomes. Stick around, because what we're about to dive into will change the way you look at the draft lottery forever. From questionable trades to suspiciously timed victories, let's break down how the NBA may have been orchestrating the future of the league for years. Before we get into the mechanics of the draft lottery itself, let's talk about the trade that sparked the flames. The Dallas Mavericks, who had just made the NBA Finals, shocked the world by trading Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, a trade that made absolutely no sense. Luka, one of the best players in the world, was at the peak of his powers. He hadn't requested a trade. He was beloved by fans, and yet he was sent packing for a package of players and picks that seemed completely inadequate for his caliber. So what's going on here? Luka Doncic wasn't unhappy in Dallas, he hadn't asked for the trade, and the team had just fought their way into the NBA Finals. Yet, the Mavericks GM Nico Harrison traded Luka anyway. The justification given was defense wins championships, but even the most optimistic basketball fans had to be scratching their heads. It was a move that just didn't add up. And then, the unthinkable happened. The Mavericks, with only a 1.8% chance of landing the first pick, won the 2025 draft lottery. Fans and analysts alike were stunned. How does a team that traded its star player, one that had been the face of the franchise for years, end up with the top pick in the draft? Is it just coincidence, or is there a much bigger story behind the scenes? Could this be a case of the NBA trying to make sure its most marketable player, Luka, ended up in Los Angeles, where the NBA's biggest market could thrive even more?
How is it going to be in the first half?
Doncic inside, puts it up and in, 45 for Doncic. And Doncic now 16 of 28 from the field. Luka lunacy returns here to Dallas.
To really understand what's going on, we need to go all the way back to 1985. The NBA, despite having a solid fan base, was facing a series of challenges: low TV ratings, declining attendance, and a series of scandals that plagued the sport. The league's image was tarnished, and something needed to change. This is where David Stern enters the picture. Stern was appointed as NBA commissioner in 1984, and his mission was clear: clean up the league's image and make the NBA a profitable entity. One of the first major issues he tackled was the growing problem of tanking. Teams were intentionally losing games to secure a top pick, undermining the competitive nature of the league. The Houston Rockets had just demonstrated this by tanking in 2 consecutive seasons to land Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. The old system, where the 2 worst teams had a coin flip to determine who would pick first, was fundamentally flawed. Teams were incentivized to lose in order to get better draft picks. It was clear that a change had to come, and so, in 1985, Stern introduced the NBA Draft Lottery. The new system was designed to create more fairness. Instead of the 2 worst teams having a coin flip for the top pick, 7 teams, those that didn't make the playoffs, would now have a chance at the first overall pick. But this system, introduced to avoid tanking, only set the stage for even more questions about the legitimacy of the process. May 25th, 1985, the first ever NBA Draft Lottery. 7 teams were fighting for the top pick, and each team had a 14.3% chance of landing the number 1 overall selection. Prized prospect that year was Patrick Ewing, a generational talent out of Georgetown University. Ewing had the potential to transform a franchise, and this was a pivotal moment for the NBA. But as the lottery process played out, fans started to notice something suspicious. When the envelopes containing the logos of the lottery teams were placed in the transparent hopper, one envelope, the Knicks, appeared to be bent. A bent envelope? What are the odds? When David Stern began pulling the envelopes out one by one, it became clear. The envelope with the Knicks logo was pulled out first, and it wasn't just that it was pulled first, it was the fact that it seemed to have a different look. Stern even grabbed 3 envelopes at once, flipped them over, and pulled out the one with the bent corner. Conspiracy theories began to swirl. Could it be that the Knicks were destined to get the number 1 pick all along? Some went as far as to suggest that the NBA had rigged the lottery to ensure that Patrick Ewing went to New York. The Knicks were struggling. The NBA was negotiating a new TV deal, and landing a superstar like Ewing in the nation's biggest market was a game changer. And this wouldn't be the last time we'd see something suspicious in the NBA draft lottery. Fast forward to 2003. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a 22.5% chance of landing the first overall pick in the draft. The prize? LeBron James, a player who was widely considered the best prospect to enter the NBA in over a decade. As the draft lottery unfolded, Cleveland ended up with the top pick. It was the perfect story. A hometown hero coming to save his hometown team. LeBron's arrival in Cleveland gave the Cavaliers instant credibility and relevance, and it felt like a dream come true for the team and the city. But once again, was this all just a coincidence, or was there something bigger at play? In 2008, we saw another perfect story. The Chicago Bulls, with just a 1.7% chance of landing the #1 pick, won the lottery and selected Derrick Rose, another hometown hero. The narrative was nearly identical to the LeBron story, another star player being drafted by his hometown team, sparking massive interest in the league. But wait, there's more. After LeBron James left Cleveland for Miami in 2010, the Cavaliers were left in shambles. They finished the 2010-2011 season with the second worst record in the league. Their pick had a 19% chance of landing the #1 pick. So what happened? The Cavaliers, again, landed the top pick and selected Kyrie Irving. Was this just another fortunate outcome, or could it be that the NBA was positioning Cleveland for redemption after LeBron's departure? With Kyrie Irving in tow, the Cavaliers once again had a future superstar on their roster, setting the stage for a new era. In 2012, the New Orleans Hornets, who had just traded away Chris Paul, entered the draft lottery with a 13.7% chance of landing the first overall pick. The prize? Anthony Davis, another generational talent. And of course, the Hornets, soon to become the Pelicans, won the lottery. New Orleans, just like Cleveland in 2011, had suffered a major loss in their franchise player, but with Davis in place, the future looked brighter. Was this another case of the NBA ensuring that struggling franchises weren't left in the dust? In 2019, the New Orleans Pelicans, once again, found themselves in the lottery, this time with a 6% chance of winning the #1 pick. The prize? Zion Williamson, another player who had the potential to reshape a franchise. And yes, the Pelicans won the lottery, landing Zion. But what made this situation even more interesting was that it set up the perfect scenario for the Anthony Davis trade. Just like that, New Orleans was positioned for a perfect rebuild, and Davis was sent to the Lakers to join LeBron James. Was this fate? Or was it the NBA ensuring the league's biggest stars landed where they were needed most? Now, we come to 2025. After the shock trade of Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, the Mavericks won the 2025 NBA Draft Lottery. Luka, a top 5 player in the NBA, was traded for a package that seemed far below his value. And then, to top it off, the Mavericks won the top pick. Was this the NBA's way of orchestrating a perfect storyline for the Lakers? With LeBron aging, getting Luka in Los Angeles could be a huge boost for the league. After years of watching these improbable scenarios unfold, the question remains: are these outcomes truly random, or is the NBA subtly orchestrating the future of its franchises? With the Mavericks' surprising trade and the subsequent lottery victory, it's hard to deny that the NBA may have been behind these coincidental outcomes all along. So, what do you think? Is the NBA lottery rigged, or is it just a series of unbelievable coincidences? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the NBA's most shocking moments.